Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Single Card History, the series where I talk about some of the cards that have impacted Yu-Gi-Oh! Throughout the years, and some of the other ones that didn't. Today's card, one of the countless big money boss monsters that we've had in this game, and the goddamned horse girl herself that defined a lot of end boards for quite a few years, it's Baronne de Fleur. Baronne de Fleur was first released in Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm in 2021 as an ultra rare. Its first reprint would come in Maze of Memories in 2023, once again as an ultra rare, but also as a collector's rare if you truly wanted to prove how much money you had to spend. It would also receive a reprint in the 25th Anniversary Rarity Collection, and every single rarity from that set. Namely all of these fucking rarities, because there's 7 of them, and truthfully, covering all of the cards that were released in this set kind of sucks now, and I resent that I continue to do it. And for time on the ban list, this card was free and at 3 right up until the April 2024 ban list, with it going right to banned on the 22nd of April for all regions except for North and Latin America, which banned it on the 15th, also known as the day that I released this video. That was to let EU players compete with their lists for an upcoming French Open event, which is the only thing they get, really, because European YCSs, as we all know, died in 2024. Apparently. A level 10 wind attribute warrior-type synchro monster with 3,000 attack and 2,400 defense. The materials needed to summon this are any 1 tuner and any 1 or more non-tuners, and its effect reads: once per turn, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. Once while face up on the field, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. You can only use the previous effect of Baronne de Fleur once per turn. Once per turn, during the standby phase, you can target 1 level 9 or lower monster in your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon that monster. The Horse. Bonhomme de Neige. I've called this card quite a few stupid names because I've been playing with or against it far more times than I have dumbass names for it. Plus, it's very funny to say that in the game that is almost entirely dragons, anime girls, and robots of varying shapes and sizes, that the one you're struggling the most with is a fucking horse. Like, yeah, I'm aware that there's also a woman, a lady on the horse here, but it's kind of funnier to imagine it's just a horse that's giving you trouble. It's just a good old nay-nay. That's a fucking, I think it's sick, dude. This is one of the best synchro monsters that the game has seen to date, as I'm making this video, and it's hard to imagine it leaving the pool of best synchro monsters ever, just due to its ease of summoning and the strength of its effect. Out of the gate, this card immediately had a home in the metagame, because a few weeks after this card's release, we got Burst of Destiny and the Sword Soul archetype. Sword Soul, or Baby's first synchro deck as it should be known, is a deck with plenty of monsters that can summon level 4 tuners essentially by themselves for 1-card synchro summons. You will need another card in some capacity, something to reveal in your hand, banish from the grave, or discard to summon, but functionally, the ease is there to make it feel like a 1-card synchro summon, and I don't care enough if you want to get pedantic about it. And one of them is in fact Long One, a level 6 that could discard a Worm or Sword Soul card to summon out a level 4 tuner, which meant that Long One and any one of your deck's cards could get you a free Baronne in 3 summons, which is just fantastic, because that means Sword Soul could just open immediate safety from Nibiru if it had, the means to do so, which is not a bad thing to have. And if they didn't happen to have Nibiru or any other hand trap, you just got an additional Omni Negate for the opponent's turn. And even better, it could use the tag out effect to put itself back into the extra deck, and then revive one of your Sword Souls to use their on summon effect or get them out on the field to get another different synchro once it had already used the negate. This was a tier 1 strategy on release, and it's not too hard to see why. The deck was consistent, could put up an Omni Negate with ease, and also it got abused a Floodgate to shut down plays from the opponent, but we're not going to talk about that, and at least that card's banned, so it's perfectly fine. Ha, shit. Now, Baronne never really left Sword Soul decks while it was legal, but Sword Soul certainly did leave the meta as time went on, and better decks and cards came out, particularly in August of 22, but we'll get there. And as the formats changed and grew and new decks came to light, there were plenty of decks that would abuse the adventure engine and combo piles, and Baronne found a home in those various combo piles with ease. Namely such as this one, which was called things such as the pile and based and other such things because I guess the name Please God Can You Just Fucking Stop didn't quite roll off the tongue for the community at large, although I did hear plenty of people saying that about these decks. And really, is there anything more Yu-Gi-Oh than this deck? Hulk, Auroradon, DPE, Baronne, and a Scythe lock to go on with it all? 2022 was a fucking mess, man. I remember a friend telling me about a combo to use Hulk of Fibrax to tag into TG Wonder Magician, use Wonder Magician's effect to pop your set Scythe, then when Scythe summoned itself and activated its effect to completely shut the opponent out of their extra deck, you tag Wonder Magician's effect in response to it, and then you synchro Wonder Magician and Scythe to make Baronne, and then not only have you Scythe locked the opponent, but you've made a Baronne for an extra negate on their turn, which just sounds so like the audacity behind that move. Granted, it was actually much better, as it turns out, to simply make Baronne on your own damn turn to help insulate Scythe's effect to make sure it resolves so they really couldn't play, which is why you're not seeing like Wonder Magician in this deck list, but the principle is the same nonetheless. You want a good generic end board to boost your chances of winning? Check out this horse. And the lady, but the horse. Check out the horse. And because it was 2022, you could even find Baronne in decks playing more stun or control-based strategies. There were a number of Eldritch decks that would run various synchro engines to accompany their floating trap cards, and the big golden boy, because really, I can't really find a way to argue against Horse Lady here. Bonhomme de Neige fits truly anywhere it can fit. Punk engines especially were commonly used to bring out that Baronne, and did occasionally find their way into ever-growing more powerful decks such as Tearlament, which could also make use of the best synchro tools that they had to use, and there's little better than this goddamn fucking horse. Even in the Tier 0 Super Threat Tier Shizu decks, this card could find play, and since they would play Diviner of the Herald to send in a Shizu monster from time to time, you could get the bonus mills from sending your Agido, then your Herald becomes a level 6 tuner, and then with any level 4 monster, you've got a free Omni Negate to accompany your seemingly endless interruptions that the deck made otherwise. For all its strength, Tier Shizu wasn't a deck known for negates, but the ease of Baronne was too good to pass up for a number of people, and in one of the tightest extra decks in the game's history, Horsey once again was effectively a guaranteed slot to a number of people. And truthfully, this is just the role that the card plays in every goddamn deck that it's in, because yes, you can find Runic Naturalists playing it, because I challenge you to give us a level 10 synchro that is better than Baronne. Yeah, you could bust out Chang Ying, it's a damn good card, the banish is nice, it's pretty chunky, I get it, it's big, but you know what's even better than that? Looking at your opponent, staring them in the eye, and telling them no. And again, to something like Super Heavy Samurai, a deck I considered a joke, until it became the stupidest combo deck of all time just one day for no particular reason, which had multiple one-card combos and starters to get an abundance of summons and negates, not the least of which would include our good old horsey friend. You see, the deck could make a level 8 synchro with the greatest of ease, and then summon Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, which meant that you could use its effect to bring back a Bike, which was a level 2 tuner, and then boom, it's Baronne time. And Bike was pretty well guaranteed because you could discard it to search Wakaushi, which got your entire one-card combo going. It was just a very efficient and consistent deck, and by natural plays, it's like it made itself to make Baronne, you'd swear. I'm aware there's like level 10 Super Heavy Samurai synchros, but again, they're not really that impressive compared to Omni Negate Free Pop the Horse. It's just the nature of the game. Hell, even Kashtira would play it, a deck known best for being Xyz locked half the goddamn time. Kashtira was at one point the best deck, and it's made up of predominantly level 7 monsters. And even with those Xyz locks, the simple strength of a level 7 and a level 3 tuner making this card was too much to ignore, because they still played Ash Blossom, and that's a level 3 tuner, and all of the Kashtira monsters are or can be level 7, so fuck it, throw it in the deck. It's not going to hurt to have it. And so they did. And even if they wanted to use, you know, Kashtira Theosis, there you go, there's the name, or Rise Heart's effect, you could just make the horse first if you so chose to, because fuck it. Some people are just horse people. Most recently, as I'm making this video, it had been used in a little deck called Snake Eye, yet another Tier 0 threat. Snake Eyes were comprised of entirely level 1 monsters for the most part, and played a card called the Original Sinful Spoils, which let them summon out any level 1 fire monster from the deck by sending another card from their field or hand to the grave. Functionally, this meant the deck could summon out Jet Synchron from the deck when they wanted to, which meant that it and any Snake Eye could make Formula Synchron to get you a bonus draw and also serve as just synchro material. And it really helped because they also had Snake Eye's Flamberge Dragon, which is a level 8 to go with your level 2 tuner. And you can probably guess where this is going, because when you take a dragon and you take a car, you do in fact get a horse. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is weird like that sometimes. You also get a girl with it, but again, horse is funnier. It's funnier to focus on the horse, I swear to God. And I also want to know how many times I ultimately end up saying horse in this video until my voice goes hoarse. Haha, get it? It's fucking wordplay. Look, there's a lot that Snake Eye did beyond just this. The format that is and or was, depending on when you're watching this, the fire format of endless hand traps and extenders was a hell of a thing to know, but really all you need to take away from it was they could make Baronne with ease, and also when Flamberge hit the grave it could summon 2 level 1s, so if they did it right they got free advantage for making their negate, and it was as absurd as that sounds. So it's not really a mind-blowing thing to find out that Konami would ultimately hit it, because that was apparently enough, and Konami did decide to throw us a bone of sorts by not addressing a single Snake Eye card or part of the core strategy of the Tier 0 deck, and instead hitting the generic extra deck tools that the deck was using that everyone else liked to use. Stay good, Konami. I'm not really sure what the best way to address the format is and or was, but taking a moment to step away from that and view this on more of a macro and less time-specific scale, I don't know that I hate this ban as I'm sitting here making this video. That isn't to say I love it, it's just that I can see the potential for what I maybe hope they're trying to do. How much does this sound like I'm trying to convince myself this is good? You tell me. There's been a discussion in the few days since this card has been banned, and about things like extra deck tools for strong end boards for years broadly, especially since we got Appaloosa. Appo just stops monster effects, however, and Baronne de Neige here can stop any and everything. Not to mention, the ease of summoning it makes it a staple for decks with synchro access to just help protect your board from, say, Nibiru or other turn-ending hand traps. But then I think you can see the argument that we have easy access to stop Nibiru being played by decks that Nibiru was designed to stop. Combo decks in Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's not a brave thing to say, aren't the most popular amongst some people, and so having a very free and very simple access to insulate their boards to make sure that they can combo off and win uninterrupted is a bit annoying for some people, and I think those people are very fond of the fact that this card is gone. But on the flip side, Nibiru doesn't hit every deck equally. If you drop a Nibiru on a Mermail player, or maybe a Phantom Knight player or something, you might end their turn. But if you drop Nibiru on Snake Eye or Tearlament in their primes, it might feel more like you poked them than it is you threw a fucking rock on their field. So sure, now Mermail is even less of a playable deck, but Snake Eye is still the uncontested best thing going around, and Mermail players just have to suck it. Can you tell what deck I like? I don't have an answer for you here. I think that you are very right to see this card being banned as an exciting opportunity for the game to be hopefully moving towards a less negate-focused style of play, and I also think that you aren't wrong if you're mad that your pet deck is now even less effective against an onslaught of hand traps when you just want to play and stand a chance, and Konami's designing shit like fucking Snake Eye or Tenpai or whatever. The only thing I can say with certainty myself is that if you are seeing this ban and think that this game is now about to get more diverse, you probably also truly believe that links will slow down the game. All this means is that the next best cards after Baronne are going to be used, and they're in plenty. They're abundant. There's the Appaloosas, there's still Little Knights, and yes, they aren't negates, but they're damn good cards, and they're going to be used in so many decks. The fact is, Appo is a solid monster, and without a lot of bans, I wouldn't hope for the magical land of playing 10,000 decks with 10,000 boss monsters, because that's just not really what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. I can agree that it's really cool to see unique bosses for unique decks, but then again, I think we can all agree that Manatium Primeheart is not going to be that deck's new boss monster end board staple, especially in comparison to other decks that have stronger cards like Mirror Jade will make an impact. Primeheart's fucking impact was a shitpost tweet when everyone was foaming at the mouth for a ban list. It's not all things are made equal. Overall, Horsey, I think, is a pretty interesting card. It was certainly more interesting than I initially would give credit for, if only in the macro sense of the game. I think in the dual-to-dual settings, it's just a really fucking good card, an Omni-Negate that also can just pop a card for free once per turn, because I didn't really focus on that in this video or the tag out, because those are good and they have applications, but like this thing is first and foremost an Omni-Negate in every deck, and then other decks can abuse that. Oh, float back into, I don't know, whatever you feel like floating back into. And but the pop is also pretty fucking, it's just once per turn, like shoot it. It's like the horse has a gun and it just obliterates things. I don't fucking know. Either way, it's a fucking really, really good card. But outside of that, I don't think it's too crazy to understand why banning it can be something that could be good for the game. God, how like legalese can I make this of just like I'm trying to cover my own ass? Baronne is a free negate with no strings attached, and the summoning requirements give you no conditions, no restrictions. It's an incredibly generic extra deck tool to use, and those aren't new, but comparatively to previous old school extra deck staples, as far back as Thousand Eyes Restrict, Stardust Dragon, Castel, you could name a million of them. Those were strong, those were staple, those were damn near everywhere, but they weren't nearly as powerful or impactful for the minimal investment that Baronne gives just by virtue of being a negate. While Baronne raises all the floors, it also significantly raised the ceiling of a lot of the competition as well. Shizu did not need this card to win, but when you add this card to Shizu's boards, it can become even more daunting. I think if Konami continues or commits to the less generic negates thing that this ban somewhat implies, or I hopefully am interpreting from this ban, it could make for a lot more of an interesting game. Broadly, interruptions, they're still annoying, but they're a lot more fun to deal with than an endless series of no from my opponent, and I think most people would agree with me. And time will tell if Konami follows through on this type of approach to the ban list moving forward. Either way, this is a hell of a good card, and one I and many others are now pissed at from having picked up the cheap as hell copies when it was printed in abundance 5 months ago, and now I have all these useless pieces of fucking cardboard to just sit in my binder forever? Who knows? Time Wizard, here I come, because shit is far too pricey for me to not justify this absolutely horrendous purchase I have made. And yeah, I did the same thing for Borreload Savage. I am certifiably an idiot. And so that's our look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Single card history. I didn't even write the card's name. It's Baronne de Fleur, Baronne de Neige, Horse Ride Girl 2.0, fucking flower ass head, dumbass fuckhead, banned as shit piece of fuck cardboard. There it goes. It's fucking dead. Konami killed a horse. Stay tuned for our next video, and feel free to suggest what type of video you'd like to see, or what card you want me to cover next. I don't fucking know. As always, Craig Fee, YGO Strats. Please hit subscribe, impress your smoking Italian wife, become a true duelist, and above all else, have a great day. I'm gonna go put these away now.